So, good morning, everybody. I'm trying to think as I'm sitting here of a different way to introduce the show, but good morning works, doesn't it, really? Because after all, well, actually, in many countries, it isn't good morning, it's good afternoon. And I think even in Australia, I think it might be tomorrow morning or maybe the middle of the night, who knows? But anyway, hi, everybody. Welcome to another The Spirit World Sees All, and yes, it really does. We had a great question from someone fairly recently who said, what does that mean that the spirit world sees all? And well, it means literally what it says, which is why, and most of you know this about me, which is why as soon as I realized how much they could see, I started using bubble bath in my bath water. Yes, and I really did. Anyway, before we begin, excuse me, before we begin, I would like to say good morning to Grey Eagle, who is standing to my right side here. And also, I'd like to say good morning to Chris. Good morning, Chris, our great facilitator. And I'd like to say good morning to all of you. If I haven't said it yet already, which of course I have, I'm going to say it again. Good morning, good morning, good morning. And what kind of a week have I been having so far? Now, I'm going to tell you about my week, but I'd love to hear from all of you. What kind of week have you been having? So, okay, let me see. Chris and I have been videotaping. We've been doing the subscription program. I so want, every time I say that, I so want to say conscription program, which means that I'm going to haul you all in, and whether you like it or not, you're going to join. So it isn't a conscription anything, is it? It's a subscription program because you've got a choice as to whether or not you join. Yes, well, it's very interesting because yesterday was you know how you have one of those days and you think you're doing great and everything's going well, and then all of a sudden things start to go wrong. Well, that was yesterday morning when we were taping, and we thought we got it down. We thought, and I was on a roll, and Greg and I were on a roll. And I absolutely know that you're going to say to me, why didn't Greg tell you? Well, because there are things that we have to learn for ourselves. Anyway, we did all this great taping. It was fantastic. I was really pleased with it all. And then when we downloaded it, nothing was recorded. We got the blank everything, no sound, no recording, no nothing. So we had to do it all over again. Maybe we had to do it all over again because the second time around probably was, well, it was different. It was somewhat the same. But, when I'm doing these things, when Grey Eagle and I are doing these things, it's not scripted. I'm not following a script. It's whatever Grey Eagle tells me, whatever I want to add to it. We're having a conversation. We're sharing what we're learning with all of you, or should I say, we're sharing what I am learning with Grey Eagle, and we're sharing that with all of you, and sort of giving you the month that we're taping, we're giving you some little exercises. What we try to do is we give you a month of education, and then we give you a month of okay, this is what we've learned, and here are some of the things that you can do. So we give you exercises that you can choose to do or not to do. It's your choice. And so I think it's a nice balance of finding out information, trying to understand the information, and then putting that information into some kind of an action. So we're giving you actions to take as well, which I think is great, because for those of you who want to learn more, dare I say, for those of you who want to raise your level of consciousness, you're going to find out, those of you who joined the subscription program, you're going to find out exactly what that means. So for those of you who want to raise your level of consciousness, for those of you who, in other words, want to be more connected, not just to your own soul, the own heart, your own heartbeat of your soul. You're going to be learning how to connect with your loved ones in the spirit world without having to come through someone like me. Anyway, so not that we're teaching mediumship either, but I think we should all learn to raise our level of consciousness to a point where we can sense or be aware or somehow be connected with our loved ones in the spirit world, but also so that we're aware of things that happen, that so that we're aware of things that are beyond this earth plane that can teach us something. For instance, I'm going to give you a quick example. The butterfly that comes buzzing around you, what's going on there? And I hear people say, "Oh, that's my mom," or "That's my dad," but that implies that your mum or your dad or whoever it is that's in the spirit world that you want to connect with, that implies that they have transformed into a butterfly or a dragonfly or something, and that's not the case at all. The Native Americans believe that those tiny winged creatures, as they refer to them, if we, when we are in the spirit world, if we whisper to those, that beautiful butterfly or that tiny little bird, if we whisper to them, "Can you take a message?" That's what they will do. I know it sounds weird, but we're explaining all of those things in our subscription program, and it's interesting because Chris is helping me with this, and she's sort of on, doing all that technical stuff that, I had no idea how to do. I just sit there, uh, kind of look pretty, and get on with doing what I'm doing. And Chris is trying to grasp what's being said, but at the same time, she's so busy making sure that things are going as smoothly as they can that she then has to go back and listen all over again because I think it's fair to say, Chris, aren't you learning stuff? I mean, how long have we been together?
26 years.
Where
Yeah.
they,
I mean, it's amazing how much to be learned.
well, you're still learning, right? And amazingly, I'm still learning too. So anyway, so we're loving it, but we don't love it when we work really, really hard, and then I'm going to blame Chris because she's a technical person. Um, Not really. Neither of us really knows what we're doing, but I think we're doing a good job. And I think those of you who are joining, and we know that we've had lots of people joining. I think you're going to really enjoy this, and enjoy what we're up to and what we're teaching you. Now, this month, we're in February. What is it, the 5th or something? This month is a very special month for me, and many of you know this because my greatest joy, aside from my daughter, who is also my greatest joy, my greatest joy, it was the arrival of my grandson on February the 12th. Yes, it's nearly there. And can you believe it? Can you believe that this birthday for my darling boy, he becomes, oh, I can barely, it's hard to say. On the one hand, we don't want them to grow up, and on the other hand, we want them to grow up to be, wonderful, beautiful people. So it's sort of like we're torn a little bit, but this year he becomes a teenager. So his birthday is on the 12th. And then, of course, 2 days later, we've got Valentine's Day. So I'm glad that he wasn't born on Valentine's Day. Uh, we've got enough love for this child to overwhelm him for the rest of his life. And we do overwhelm him with our love, and he loves every minute of being overwhelmed with our love. So, February is the month of love. And February is the month where we overwhelm those that we love, or we give them, or we show them in one way or another just how much we do love them. February is also the month I like to think of, all of those people that maybe you haven't spoken to for a while, or maybe you're fighting with, or maybe there's an issue going on. Well, I'm not going to call her until she calls me, that sort of thing. Uh, February is the month where we give and where we love, and if possible we make phone calls or we write letters to all of those people who for whatever reason, either they don't want to speak to us anymore, we don't want to speak to them anymore. So let's use February as that month of not only celebrating love and not only celebrating romantic love, but let's use this month for celebrating love in any form and in any way that it comes. And let us be loving and caring and sweet. I want to say, even if it kills us sometimes, we have to be nice, don't we? But I think, February is that month where we really sort of should take a little time and reflect a little bit on the people that we care about, the people that we not necessarily love, but at least care about. And I think, this is a great month for reflecting and maybe even for mending bridges. Anyway, what else have I been doing? So I've done that. Yes, we did our filming, and oh yes, we went for happy hour without my friend Susan. I don't know if she's listening today, but I did have a pina colada in her memory. We walked into the restaurant and the manager said, "Where's your friend?" I said, "You mean the little blonde one?" And he said, "Yeah, where is she?" And I said, "Well, she left me. She went back home. But I have another friend here." And there was Chris. Did we have a good time, Chris?
Oh, if everybody could see what you do when you go out, they
I'm
would be
terrible.
shocked.
I'm terrible. I'm an awful person. When I go out, if I go out to eat or into a restaurant, I think it never fails, actually. I cannot keep myself to myself. No matter, even if I'm feeling tired or if I'm feeling, after our filming yesterday, I said to Chris, "Okay, we had to do this twice over. Get your coat, let's go out." And so we went to a great restaurant here in Venice. It's called Dockside. There, I've given a shout out to them. The food is pretty good. Um, I always thought it was the dark side. But anyway, it's Dockside. It's here in Venice, and they do the best calamari, which is what I always have, and they do great. Um, what did I just say? What was the drink that I just
Pina
said?
coladas.
Yeah, I'm having a senior moment here. They do great pina coladas, and so I misbehave whenever I'm out, and it doesn't matter who I'm with. You have that lovely waitress or that nice waiter who comes over to me and he's checking and he says, "And how is everything for you?" And I say, "Terrible." Now, sometimes I mean it, but not often. Mostly, I just really want to see their reaction. So I say terrible. And sometimes they don't even hear me because they're so busy and they move on to the next table or the next table. But then at some point, I get talking to them, and I like to talk to my waiters and waitresses, and I like to make them smile, and I like to have fun with them because having, oh gosh, so many years ago now, but having been a waitress, having waited on people and having waited on sometimes some awful people, having waited on people, I know that it's very important for us to be nice and to be appreciative of those who serve us. Uh, Waitressing, waiting tables, it's hard, it's tough, and you're on your feet and running around, and you're having to deal with people in the kitchen, and you're having to deal with people at the table who don't like their food or are complaining, what have you, and So I always try, having been in that situation myself, I always try very, very hard to be nice. And even if, and especially if I have to send something back because it isn't good, I always make sure that I say to my wait staff, look, this is not your fault. And we know things happen. So if they could just change this for me, I'd appreciate it. Always be nice. Always be nice. You never know when somebody's going to spit in your food, right? So, and actually, I've actually seen that happen. Anyway, but so we always have a good time. But then, you see, Chris, this is what you're talking about, isn't it?
Exactly.
I take it further. I can't help myself. There, people are to the tables and they're having a nice time and they're or not or enjoying themselves or what have you, and on my way out of the restaurant I usually will stop at a table or two and insert myself into their lives a little bit, um, having fun, complimenting them, asking them if they've had a nice time, was the food good. And people at first, sometimes people look and think, who is she? What does she want? And then I just smile and I say good things, nice things, and I try to make people feel good. And yesterday we stopped at a table where there was this lovely man, and there were three girls all in pink t-shirts. And I'm thinking, why are they all wearing the same thing? And it turns out they were all sisters. They all bought their t-shirts at a place in Florida. So whenever they come to Florida to visit their father, they wear their t-shirts when they go out. And I started, talking to them all. And didn't we have a blast, Chris? Wasn't it fun? And they
For
all
me, it's just as entertaining watching you as it is anything else.
No, I'm awful. I'm a horrible person. So if you're out and about in a restaurant and somebody comes up to you and says, "And hi, how are you?" and I have a question for you. Why are you all wearing the same thing? Or I'll say, "Why are you all together? You all look as if you're good friends." Or however it is I start, I'm an interfering woman. Now, this reminds me, I'm going to shut up talking in a minute, but it reminds me of a poem. Nobody knows who wrote this poem, but the poem is called When I Am Old. And the poem begins, When I am an old lady. And the poem goes on to say what this old lady is going to do and how she's going to be and how difficult she's probably going to be. When I am an old lady, I will wear purple. Um, all sorts of other things. I can't remember offhand, but she's going to basically what she's saying is just because I'm old doesn't mean I'm going to be dead. So when I am an old lady, I'm going to wear purple. When I'm an old lady, I'm going to uh, uh, put my walking stick along the metal railings and make noise. I'm going to sit on the curb. I'm going to spit in the street or whatever it else she says it is. You've got to look this up. You'll find it on the internet. When I am an old lady, I will wear purple. And I've had this for years, and I found this poem. Oh my goodness! When I was probably in my mid to late 20s, I found this poem. I came across this poem, and I'm reading it, and it made me laugh because basically what it's saying is that when we get old, we don't have to obey the rules anymore. We can make up our own rules. When we get old, we can do as we please. We don't have to obey the rules necessarily of etiquette. We don't have to behave ourselves as we had to do when we were children. And the poem is talking about, when I am old, I'm going to do so many naughty things. And I read this, as I've said, I read this poem in my mid to late 20s. And I thought to myself as I'm reading it, why, hold hold on here a second. Why would I wait until I'm old to do these things? Why don't I start to do these things now? So, my deal has always been that when I'm an old lady, I'm going to be naughty, I'm going to be fun, and I'm going to laugh, and I'm going to enjoy myself as much as I can, as well as taking life seriously, because it can be serious stuff too. But when I'm old, I'm going to wear purple. You can see I'm wearing red at the moment. But when I am an old lady now, okay, so when I was in my mid to late 20s, I started to get braver and more brave. I think let's speak proper English here. And so I've always dared to talk to people on the street. I've always dared to insert myself when I feel that it's appropriate. I've tried to be polite, I've tried to be kind, I've tried to be nice. But let's say I've been an old lady since I was in my mid 20s, wearing purple. In other words, going against what authority tells us we should or should not do, how we should or should not behave. Um, now here I am, and I'm an old lady, and I'm doing exactly the same. When I am an old lady, I will wear purple. And it always makes me laugh when I say the word purple, because when my daughter was a little girl, she couldn't say purple. She would say purple. So when I'm an old lady, I will wear purple. Basically, I will defy, let's say, the rules and the regulations. Uh, Not always, because sometimes they're put in place for our safety, but um, trying to be a part of life, trying to enjoy life, having fun with life, and including other people and talking to other people and being respectful of other people, but also inserting myself. So basically, if you're ever in my vicinity, if you're ever in my area, and you want to go out for dinner or for lunch or just for a coffee with me, or even if you just want to go to the supermarket with me, I give you fair warning. I won't behave. Chris and I were in Walmart the other day. Didn't we have fun, Chris?
I was wondering if you're going to tell that story.
I'm only going to tell it briefly, and then I really am going to stop talking. We were in Walmart, and I just had my toes done. A very nice young man was sort of, putting nail polish on my toes. If you notice, I wear clear nail varnish on my nails. I do my own fingernails, but uh, I can't reach down anymore to do and it's such a pain to get all the polish off, right? It's much easier if somebody else does it for you, and they do a great job. So we came out of there, and Chris was with me, and I suddenly hear somebody call my name. And I turn, I don't see anybody. I don't see anybody that I know or that I recognize. And so I turn back to Chris, and then I hear somebody shout my name again. And a lady comes bouncing up to me. And it so happens that this lady was someone I had met in a restaurant, actually at Dockside, with all of her friends. They were all having a girls' luncheon. I think there were about 7 or 8 of them, something like that. And I once again inserted myself, and then I sat down, and then we started having a conversation. And they were so much fun, these people, right? And um, anyway, I ended up, very briefly, I'm going to cut this conversation short now. I ended up giving this lovely lady, she's standing there talking to me, and oh, I've got your phone number, and we want to call you, and we want to. She said to me, "You promised us that you'd invite us for tea." I said, "Really? I did." So I'm thinking I'll invite them not for tea necessarily, but I'll invite them for drinks. They can come at night. I'll make a few hors d'oeuvres and see what fun we can have. But standing in the middle of Walmart with people buzzing around and buzzing around, I saw standing next to her, her grandmother, teeny tiny little thing she was. And then I saw her standing on the other side of her, her father, who proceeded to give her, they both proceeded to give her messages. And this poor woman is standing in the middle of Walmart looking at me, sort of staring at me and saying, "Oh, oh, oh." And then I said, "And your dad says," and she said, "How did you know it was my dad?" I said, "Well, it is, right? Well, from what I've told you, right?" And she's nodding. And I said to her, "You see, you can never say that you never had that experience. I know you have friends who've had many experiences, and you've complained that you've never had an experience, but you can never say that again, ever, ever again." The spirit world sees all wherever we are, whether we're in a restaurant, in Walmart, in a supermarket, whether we're in a park walking, or whether we're just sitting quietly at home by ourselves. They surround us. They are always there with us. They're always there for us. And part of our subscription program is helping people to not necessarily talk to the spirit world as I do, but at least be able to understand when our loved ones are around us, when they come close to us. And I think it helps us to understand that we are spiritual beings. Having a human experience. That's a quote from Teilhard de Chardin. I always like to add, I hope he doesn't mind wherever he is. I hope that he understands that I always put in my sentence. Again, I can't help interfering. I'm a naughty girl. So he says we're spiritual beings having a human experience. And I always like to add in a spiritual way, or as much as possible in a spiritual way. So that's what the subscription program is all about, trying to have this human experience. We are spiritual beings trying to have this a human experience, trying to make the most of it, wondering what our purpose is very often, but doing it hopefully more and more in a spiritual way. I'm done. I'm not talking anymore. That's it, unless I have to ask questions. Chris,
It's
have
so
I
funny.
been have I been
Chloe
talking to
popped
myself?
in.
Oh, she did.
Yeah, she said she's been dealing with that kind of thing for 43 years.
Oops. Oops. Hi, Chloe. How are you, darling? Yes, it is hard being around me sometimes, but it's a lot of fun too, right, Chris?
I would say more fun than hard.
Yeah. Anyway, so hi, Chloe.
So Judith has popped in, saying hello, and she's very anxious to start the subscription program.
Well, patience, 1st of March, which is less than a month away. And we are filming furiously. We want to make this the best that we can for all of you. And Gradle and I are working, hard. And Chris is helping with this. She's been a tremendous help with this. So here we are doing our best for all of you. And we're keeping our fingers crossed that you're going to enjoy as much as we are. We talk about this being an exclusive program, which it is, but you will hear, those of you who have been following me for however many years, those of you who've been watching me and so on, you may hear stories that I've told before, but when I tell the stories this time during the subscription program, there's something more to learn. And I don't know about any of you, but I can read a book 2 or 3 times. If it's an interesting book, I can read it 2 or 3 times. And each time I read it, I learn something different. I can watch a movie and yeah, I love movies. I really love good movies. And I can watch them over and over. I've watched a movie, one movie I can think of it. I've watched it at least 5 times or 6 times over the years, and every time I watch it, I notice something different, or I see something different, or maybe it's not that the movie is different. Maybe I'm looking at it with different eyes or listening in a way that I didn't before. So I always find, that I can watch again and again and still learn something or still see something different. And this is the same with stories. When you hear somebody tell a story, if you sort of, oh God, I've heard that before. Yeah, if you have that attitude, then you're not going to hear anything new, you're not going to hear anything different, and you're not going to learn anything. But if you listen to the story with new eyes, new ears, um, yes, well, that's part of our subscription program, how we listen uh, with our eyes. Uh, and so not saying anymore, that's it. But if we listen, and we listen with a different attitude, or if we listen more closely or more carefully, we're going to understand better. We're going to hear something different or see something different in the telling of the story. So, so there will be some stories that you'll have heard before, but there'll be a lot of stories that you've never heard before. So anyway, moving on. Chris, keep
All
going.
right. Andrea says, I've been very depressed lately. It comes and goes, actually. I lost my dad 1.5 years ago, and instead of getting better, it's getting worse. Can you ask Gray Eagle if I should visit my mom in Hungary now? We're planning to visit in the summer, but I think I might be depressed, afraid of losing her and not visiting her on time.
Okay, well, Andrea, if something is telling you, this is how you're feeling, I would always go with my feelings. And if you feel that sooner is better than later, then if it's possible for you to do that, even if it's just a quick visit to reassure yourself or a quick visit to just connect with your mom, um, to because she's probably missing your dad too. She's probably having all sorts of feelings, and mothers and daughters, uh you know I'm fortunate. I'm very, very fortunate. I have a fantastic daughter. We have an amazing relationship, and thankfully she includes me, and I put it down to her because you know our children, our grandchildren, they can include us in their lives, or they can exclude us from their lives, or they can just, be unaware of our need to be included, perhaps. And so I've been very fortunate in that my daughter has always included me with Reese. And in fact, ever since he was born, even from the very first weeks, I was there for 6 weeks with her, and then I left. And every night she would call me. She would read Reese's story as I did with her, even when he didn't understand and couldn't understand. Um, or or I would sing to Samantha, even when she was a tiny baby, as Samantha's done with Reese. But Samantha has always, thankfully, we've had the ability, we've been able to, using FaceTime or using all of this wonderful technology that we have, we've been able to stay close. And uh, Reese is my grandson, is the one who will often come to me if he's got an issue or situation that can't be handled. His mummy will say to him, "Let's ask Mosey," or even on his own, he'll tell me something that's going on, and what do you think, Mosey, or what should I do, Mosey? We have a very, very good and a very close relationship. But mothers and daughters, we know we can argue, we can fight, we can, because it's two women together. What are we going to do? but we love each other and we cuddle each other. My daughter and I never fail to say love you after the end of every conversation. So if you're feeling that you know, you should be there with her, my recommendation to you, I'm not, you know, I can't say to you you should go. That's your choice. But my recommendation is if you're feeling strongly about this, then get yourself on a plane and get yourself there. Even if you have to go on your own and just be with her for, even if you can only manage 2 or 3 days and still go in the summertime. That would be my recommendation. Always listen to your feelings, always listen to what your soul is saying to you. Always listen to your senses and your sensitivity. And if you feel, you know, and you obviously are feeling that you need to be close to your mum, then that's where you should be. Chris.
All right, this is from Jennifer. What are your thoughts on reincarnation?
Oh, gosh, that we've had this question so many times. Okay. There are many, many people who think that, and they totally believe, and I'm not disparaging anyone for their beliefs. If this is what you believe, then that's fine. You should hold on to that. And if it helps you or if it teaches you something, that's great. And I know that many people believe, you know, that we've had several lives here on this earth prior to coming here. And that may be true or it may not be true. What I don't believe in is what I refer to as the yo yo syndrome. So let me explain. I don't believe that we, here we are, let's call it heaven or wherever that is, and we come to earth, we live our life, we go back up there, and then we come back down, and then we go back up, and then we come back down. I call it the yo-yo syndrome, so I don't believe that. I believe that if there are, and there are people, I'm sure, who choose to come back here to this life and have another experience of this life. So I do believe that, as you might call it, reincarnation. I call it a choice to come back and do this again, but perhaps in a different environment and to learn something new. I think there are people in the spirit world who choose to do that, but I think there are many people in the spirit world who choose to, do something different, because the universe and the many universes that are out there are there for us to explore. They're there for us to expand our knowledge and our energy, and they're there for us to explore our sensitivities. So I think that assuming that this earth of ours is our only choice, um, is for me. I think there are far more choices, and there are far more ways to explore on a spiritual level, and there are far more ways to grow. So I do think that some people choose to come back here and do this all over again. But I think there are people who choose to say, yeah, well, it's a bit like, some people love to go back to the same place every year for their vacation. Oh, we've been coming here for 20 years and we love it. And that's great. And that's great for them. They love it. uh, they might be the kind of person who says, "Okay, yeah, but let's go back to where we know. Let's go back to something that we know and we don't have to work too hard to explore." And then there are other people who, like myself, who are perhaps a little bit more adventurous. Okay, I've been there and I've done that. Let's try something else. Let's go somewhere else. And so, perhaps they're the kind of people who say, yeah, well, been there, done that, so let's try something else. So I do not believe in the yo-yo system. I do not believe that it's an inevitability that we go back and forth and bob up and down and bob up and down and so on and so forth. I think there's so much more to why we might want to come back here, um, and do this all over again. I often will say, I'm more of an adventurer. But if when it's my turn to decide, once I'm passed into the spirit world and I'm deciding now what I'm going to do, if somebody says, or if Gregor says to me, we got to go back, we've got to do this, because this is, you've got other work to do, or we got to try something else. If they say to me, those who are wiser than I think it's the best way, I would do it. I'm not sure I'd do it happily, but I would do it. And I've been so fortunate in my life. I've had pain. I've had heartache. Boy, oh boy, have I cried tears. So many, so many, so many tears over my lifetime. And I have had physical stuff happen to me. I've got great scars. Uh, I mean, really long, long scars. I was talking to somebody the other day about scars. I've got great scars, which are my battle scars, where I've, had surgeries and issues and so on. So, life is not easy, but it is beautiful. It is wonderful, and it is exciting, and it's thrilling. And if you have the right attitude, you can have the most wonderful life, even or despite, or even because of the scars and the wounds, both physical and emotional. Chris.
This one's from Shamanth. You had asked me to update about our child who's on the way. Recently, when we went for a checkup, the doctor said she might go for delivery on March 2nd. Or the week of March 2nd. So I'm seeking yours and Gray Eagle's blessings that everything goes well. We don't know the gender of the child, as it's not allowed to reveal the child's gender before the birth.
Oh, uh, then which country are you in, Samantha? I want to know. Or which, perhaps which, I hate the word religion because it means something to everybody. So which faith are you involved in where this is not allowed? I'm curious about. I'm just curious about it. No other reason than that I'm a nosy person. But I'm asking Grey Eagle, who tells me to tell you, you don't actually need our blessing. You have it. You have it. But everything's good. Everything's fine. And I better be one of the first to know when this wonderful child is born and the gender and all the rest of it. I always make sure I never tell people. People come to me and they're pregnant. So what's of course now you can, you know, people do it all the time. We know we can see the gender of the baby, but if my daughter, the day before we were going to find out the gender of her baby, my darling boy, she said to me, "Oh, please tell me, please tell me, please tell me." And I make it a rule never to say to anyone, because why spoil the excitement? But she begged, she pleaded. We were cuddled in bed, and she said, "Please just tell me, just please tell me." And so I did. I told her, because I had been told about my darling boy, gosh, 30 years before he was born. I was told that he would be born. There are some things in our lives that are inevitable. I think, Samantha, this child is inevitable for you. And I think it's wonderful. So let me know. And of course, we send you many, many, many blessings. And and we know that the joy that you're going to experience is beyond explanation. Chris,
Bridget 39 says, "Good morning.
good morning.
I've missed you ladies. And I have so many updates for you, and all is great here." I don't know if this is our little Bridget from Vermont.
you you got to give me more than this.
I know. I'm waiting to hear back in the chat room.
Come on, Bridget. Who are you thinking? Are you thinking of Bridget who came to us with her mom?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I can't tell from the picture. The picture's too tiny,
Oh gosh, wouldn't that be wonderful?
wouldn't it?
Oh, it really would be wonderful. But they weren't from Vermont, so I'm not sure. Can Bridget, darling, you need to give us a little bit more information. And if it's the Bridget I'm thinking of, you just made my day. And even if it isn't the Bridget we're thinking of, it might be another Bridget. I want to know because we love it when people find us. They've lost us and then they find us. So we love that. So please let us know more. Chris,
Mark says this is a question for Gray Eagle.
okay?
Does my Gerard, my personal angel, know the hour of my death? Does he know the date and time? Not that I want to know at the moment, but does God give them this information?
Okay. Um, so uh, this is my belief. And so how can I put this? So let's assume that, and this might be something we're going to be talking about in our subscription program. I almost said conscription program there, subscription program. Chris, you might want to make a note because I think it is important. One of the questions is when does the soul enter the body? Um, we're definitely answering that one. Another is if you can sort of in layman's terms, so we human beings can understand. So imagine that each one of us has a book or a story or whatever it is. But let's call it a book, and in that book is written not only the date of our birth, but the time of our birth, and even, in fact, where our birth to this earth will take place. I know that as an absolute fact. I know that because I knew, as I've just said, I knew 30 years before that this child was coming into my life, but I also knew the exact time and date, but the exact time to the second when my grandson was going to take his first breath. And I told my daughter, and only because she pushed me, but I told her. And so, she was well and truly pregnant at the time. And she was very insistent. She was in a lot of pain at the time and she was very insistent. I remember I gave her the time and she said morning or afternoon. And, and it was sort of about 8 o'clock ish or something at the time, 8:30 at the time. And I said morning. And she's looking at me as if to say, are you crazy? This child is not coming that quickly. Are you crazy person? Uh, but he did come at the exact time, the exact date, and he took his first breath in the exact second that I had predicted for her, given to her. Because Grey Eagle was able to tell me those things. So, on the exact second that I told my daughter he would take his first breath, he took his first breath. So I know. So if you can visualize, okay, if we can be that clear and that precise about the date, the time, and everything of our birth, when it is time for our rebirth, yes, we call it death, but it is actually a rebirth because we are going back. We are going to be reborn and we are going to be literally sort of, let's say, carried by our angels uh, on a particular day, a particular date, and a particular time. And, you know, I think there's no changing that. So, do our angels know that? Yes, they do. Does that God force know that? Yes, because it is written. And there is nothing we can do about avoiding it. But it is written, and because it is written and decided, then we can wriggle about as much as we like, but we can't avoid the inevitable. And there are certain things in our lives that we encounter that are inevitable. There are certain people that we're meant to meet that are inevitable for us to meet. There are certain, well, let's call them soulmates or playmates or workmates. There are certain people who come into our lives and they might only be there for moments, or they might be there for a while, but there are certain people that we're meant to meet. Um, you know, you might think I just told you the story of the lady in Walmart who, in that precise moment of meeting, there is her father, there is her grandmother. They've come to give her a message. That is not an accident. That is a precise and clear inevitability, because you know, they being those in the spirit world have taken that moment and used that moment, and they know exactly, they know that, you know, this man knew that his daughter would be walking through Walmart, and there was no accident that she bumped into me. She just happened to see me and shout across Walmart, shout my name and get my attention. So there are certain things that are inevitable. I think the time of our birth and the time of our death is one of those inevitables, but there are lots of other inevitables. And the choices that we have are the choices about how we deal with those inevitables. Um, do we have a negative attitude? Do we have a half empty glass, or do we have a half full glass? I've seen people in absolute torment and torture. There was a lady that I met who had lost three children, one to an accident, one to cancer, and I don't remember how the third one passed. She had the best attitude. She had a wonderful half full. She was so grateful that she'd had them in our lives. And as devastating, as painful as it was to her to live without them, she was focusing on what they gave to her and what she was able to give to them, which was far more important than the pain that she was suffering, having to deal with their loss. I've seen people who have a half empty glass because, you know, they might have had an argument with their wife, or they got divorced or something, or whatever. Each person's pain is each person's pain, but we have choices in how we deal with that pain and how we deal with our lives. So we can make it better. We can make our lives much better, having a positive attitude, or we can make it worse by being negative and judgmental and critical of others. Chris. Did I lose you? Have I lost you?
No, you have not. Annalie says, love from Francesco and Annalie. Thanks for the beautiful consultation you did for us on the 9th of January. It was the third time already.
Oh my golly, really? And you still enjoyed it? How wonderful. Well, of course, the more you do this, the deeper things get, and thank you for, because honestly, I said I had this lovely couple come to me this week for a consultation, and I think they didn't quite know what they were in for. And at the end of the consultation, they both were so excited and thrilled, and they said that they kept saying, "Thank you, thank you, thank you, Rosemary." And I said to them, "Look, I think you have to understand that." You know, it's me. You gave me an opportunity to get to know your father. You gave me the opportunity to get to know your family. And actually, it was two fathers. And I said, "You've given me the opportunity to be able to talk to those in the spirit world and to have fun with them and to find joy and to be able to give you joy and to be able to give you information that they are still very much alive." So I said, I appreciate that you're thanking me, but you have to understand that really it is my pleasure because I get immense, immense pleasure from talking to those in the spirit world who are mostly so much fun to be around. Chris.
All right, we've had a few responses back. So Shamanth let us know that they're from India, and in
Okay.
India, it is not legally allowed to
Okay.
determine the gender as per laws. They follow Hinduism.
Okay. Oh, interesting. Okay. Thank you for letting me know that.
Bridget responded back, and apparently, this Bridget is a Bridget that you did a bottom brick exercise with. And so she was very excited to tell you that she's written a book and is getting ready for a beta read through.
I know who this Bridget is. It is not the Bridget we were thinking of, but I know who you are, Bridget. Oh, how lovely, lovely, lovely. And, that, gosh, I think we did talk about your ability to write. And I think we did talk about your ability to have confidence in yourself. And, I'm so pleased that the bottom brick exercise, and some of you are wondering, what is that bottom brick exercise about? Go to the website and you'll find out all about it. And we're always up for people volunteering for this. It's been a while, Chris, since we did a bottom brick.
I
And
know, and
maybe
I love them.
maybe we could have a volunteer who'd come on the show, and we could do a bottom brick exercise with them. And Bridget, I'm, first of all, I'm thrilled with the news. Thank you for letting us know. Second of all, and most importantly, I think, is I'm so proud of you because, as I recall, there was a time when you would have never had the confidence to do what you're doing, and here you are understanding because of the bottom brick exercise, understanding where all of that insecurity came from. And look at you now. You are shining out. Please let us know. Keep us informed. Please, please. Chris.
Neil says, Rosemary, can you ask Gray Eagle if there are any specific messages for me? You gave me a good answer about Jan, someone I lost last week. If there's anything else from Jan, I'd like to know.
Oh, golly. Neil, okay. Well, there is nothing today. Don't be disappointed because you just you have to be patient. But Grey Eagle is saying you need to wait and to watch for the signs because I think that you're going to be getting signs perhaps from Jan, perhaps from other people. So watch for those signs that you're going to be getting. And as I'm talking to you, I'm asking Grey Eagle, it's winter time, so there aren't many butterflies around, but I'm going to tell you to watch for butterflies, unexpected butterflies. Those tiny winged creatures bringing us message from our loved ones. Interesting. Chris.
All right. Well, I know we're right at time. There was one last question for someone that popped in midway through, and it's the first time they're hearing about your subscription program.
Oh,
So if you wanted to talk about that before we ended.
What is the question?
The question is, oh goodness, it was Helen.
Hi, Helen.
And sorry, I'm having to scroll back up to it. Can you touch on what's the subscription about a little more? Sorry, I just got on.
Oh, no, that's fine. Well, oh golly, what is it about? So Grey Eagle and I have decided, or did decide, that there is so much, so many people have so many different ideas of how the spirit world works. So many different ideas about the soul. When does the soul enter the body? Is there a difference between the soul and the spirit? And that's only the start of it. There are so many questions, and so much about, the creation of the soul, for instance, and the creation of us as an earth cluster. I'm not going to explain it, because these are the questions that we go into and explain in the subscription program. The subscription program, if you apply, I think you're still in time to get we're doing a founder's price, which is going to be $20 a month. And for that $20, you will get, throughout the month, you will get 3 videos. Those videos will be Greg and I discussing and talking about a whole variety of different subjects, all connected with the spirit world, and all connected with, how things work and what things mean, and what is it like for people in the spirit world anyway? What is it like for them when they're communicating with me? I know what it's like for me, but what is it like from their side? What is going on their side of things? This is a many, 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 many faceted subject, and lots of people have lots of opinions about it, and some of them I might agree with, and some of them I know are just not right at all. And there's so many books being written, and so many people are claiming to be experts in this field, and maybe some are, and maybe some aren't. But Grail and I, we've been doing this, we've been working together for a lot of years, and Greg has so much knowledge. I, as a trans medium, I do lots of work that many mediums don't do. So we have a lot of knowledge about a lot of different things, a lot of different subjects. So each week there will be 3 videos, one a week for 3 weeks, and then on the 4th week of the month we will be having a Zoom connections where everybody who's been a part of this program can join in or not. Uh, everybody's choice. You can join in, and you get a chance to ask questions, or you get a chance to, if there's something you don't understand, or you'd like me to go into a little deeper, a little further. So we try to get together once a month to discuss the things that we have been discussing throughout that month. And this subscription starts on the 1st of March. So if you're interested, you need to email Rosemary at rosemaryaltea.com. Chris will send you the information. All of the information that you'll need will be going out on the 1st of March for how to set up your subscription, which can be cancelled at any time. You are subscribing monthly, not yearly. So at any given moment, you can stop your subscription if you feel that it's not for you. But Grey Eagle and I are sitting together, and we both are going to be talking about all the different facets of this subject, and try to bring clarity and understanding. We're also going to be suggesting certain exercises that you can do to help to raise your level of consciousness. In other words, to be more mindful, and to be self-aware, and to be more able to connect, or to sense, or to in some way feel. We're suggesting exercises that you might want to do to enhance your understanding of, maybe even learning to listen to the heartbeat of your soul, or to understand how you can sort of raise your level of consciousness, or how to enhance your hearing, or your sight, or what have you, so to a point where maybe you can see or sense those in the spirit world. This is not about me teaching you how to become mediums. This is simply about helping you to understand the workings of and to answer questions that we, don't necessarily understand. Well, every time I have a consultation, well, how did they know that? Or how did they see that? Or how can they say so and so? And I have people come to me and say, you told me that this and this and this would happen. How did you know that? How did they know that? Well, how does this work? How does that work? So again, it's a many, many faceted subject. Trans mediumship, I'll briefly mention that this, our Grey Eagle Speaks, the trans work that we did in December. I forget which date in December it was, but early in is sometime in December before Christmas. Grey Eagle and I, we always do a Grey Eagle Speaks where because I am a trans medium, I go into a trans state. There are people who join this program and watch live as things unfold. And amazingly, this last time, people in the spirit world who were family to many of the participants who had joined us. Um, I think there were some members of different families who also were allowed to use, let's say, to use my body, to use my trans state in order to give out messages to their loved ones in the spirit world. It was a stunning event. Of course, we filmed it. It is a stunning event, and for those who did participate and who joined the program, they will receive the video as part of their subscription, as a part of their, let's say, a part of their ticket price. They will receive automatically the link that can take them to actually view this video. And we're so close to putting that out now, I think within a week or two or something. Chris will know better than I will. And for those of you who are not a part of it, there will be a fee if you would like to get the link to the whole video. It is an amazing thing to watch. It's amazing to see, let's say, a real medium in a real trance state, because we all know that there are many people out there who aren't necessarily real. Perhaps they have good intentions, but that doesn't make them real necessarily. But I've been a trance medium for, oh gosh, more than 40 years, well over 40 years actually. And so, these things that we're doing now are things that have not been for public viewing necessarily, but we're now putting them out because we feel that people are interested, and also people, would maybe like to watch what happens and then have questions that we can answer. And so, and on it goes. If you want to know more about what it is that we're doing, go to our website, Rosemary at rosemaryaltea.com, or simply email us, rosemary at rosemaryaltea.com. Chris will answer those emails for you, and she'll send out information as and when she can. If anyone out there is interested in the subscription program, month one starts on March the 1st. You don't have to join March the 1st if you don't want to, or you can do the 1 month and decide it's not for you, whatever. The subscription is once a month, so you can cancel at any time. And I think, have I missed anything out, Chris? I don't think I've missed anything out here.
No, you've said it all. And if they go onto your website, all the information is there as well.
Okay. All right. So that's it for today, everybody. Thank you for joining me. First of all, I'd like to say thank you to Great Eagle, who has helped with and is always there with us and helping me to answer these questions for you. I'd like to say thanks to Chris. Great job as a facilitator. And I would like to say thank you to all of you for joining me. I'll be here next Thursday for another The Spirit World Sees All. In the meantime, we are trying to figure out when we're going to do our cracking up program, and we're going to be also doing our Everything Attitude event with Al. I had an email from him yesterday, and I have to reply to that. So we're going to have more going on. It's just, we've had Christmas and New Year, and then the subscription program, and on and on. So we have to get ourselves together and get organized and get these things going, because we know how much you really enjoy them. So keep watching, go to the website. In the meantime, everyone, have a very, very blessed rest of the day. Have a very blessed weekend. Remember, this is the month of love, building bridges, and just loving yourself is the most important thing of all. And Bridget, looks like you're doing that. I'm so proud of you. So have a very blessed rest of the day, a very blessed weekend, everybody. Hopefully, we'll see you soon. Bye bye, everybody. Bye bye.